Yeah, thank you. So do you remember what we were discussing in the last session? So we are talking about Maven. We are talking about Maven. Okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
Good evening, all. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for all your wishes. So today is our institute second anniversary. Thank you, all of you. Okay. Good. Let's get started. Guys, in the last session, we have seen what is a repository in the Maven. Okay. Repository is a place where all the jar files will be available. Repository is a place where all the jar files will be available. Now, for the project, we need the add the dependencies. So the dependencies we are going to add in the pom.xml. When we add the dependencies in the pom.xml, Maven is going to search for the dependencies. Maven is going to search for the dependencies. Maven is going to search for the dependencies in the local repository. Maven will search for the dependencies in the local repository. Okay. Now, if you observe this diagram, you will understand how the Maven is searching for the dependencies in the local repository. Okay. If the repositories are not available in the local, then what Maven will do? If the repository not available in the local, then what Maven will do? Can you tell me? If the repository not available in the local, then what Maven will do? Maven will search in the central repository and it will try to get from the central repository. Who is managing the central repository? Central repository will be managed by Apache organization. Okay. Now, for practice purpose, we are going to connect with the central repository. But in the company, are we going to connect with the central repositories in the company? Are we going to connect with the central repository in the company? We are not going to connect with the central repository in the company. We are going to connect with the remote repository. All right, fine, good. Then after we discussed about what are the goals in the Maven. What are the goals in the Maven? In the Maven, there are several goals available to perform the build operation. Like a clean goal is available, compile goal available, test goal available, package goal available, and install goal is available. Clean goal is used to delete the target folder. Compile goal is used to compile the project source code. Whatever the code that got compiled, that code will be stored in the target folder. The test goal is used to execute the unit test code for our application, like JUnit code will be available. Package goal is used to generate the jar file or war file for our application based on the packaging type available. Jar or war file will be created in the target folder. Okay. Install goal is available. Install goal is used to install our project as a dependency in the Maven local repository. Every Maven goal is associated with the Maven plugin. When we execute the Maven goal, respective Maven plugin will execute to perform the operation. How to execute the goal? MVN space goal name. MVN space goal name. Like this, we are going to execute it. Fine. Okay, with this we understood how to create standalone Maven application. Now today I want to create one web application. I want to create one web application by using Maven. So do you know how to create a web application by using Maven? What is the archetype you need to use for the web application? The archetype we need to use for the web application is web app. Web app is the archetype. So let us take this command. Let us take this command in order to create the web application. Okay. Now, so let me take this command. Go to our build tool folder, open CMD, open CMD. Now here, let's paste this command, then execute. Now see here, it is generating a Maven web application. Build success. Can you see the build got success? Yes. Now go to this project. So here I have given the project name as 01 Maven web app. When you open this, here also SRC available, main resources available, web app folder is created, webinf folder, web.xml, like that some folder structure got created for this. The folder structure got created for this. So here we have a pom.xml. Can we open this pom.xml, edit with notepad? Now here also, now can you see by default which dependency added? By default which dependency added for this web application also? JUnit dependency got added by default. JUnit dependency got added by default. Now can we compile this project, guys? Go to cd space 01 Maven web app. Now I'm pointing to web app folder, guys. I'm pointing to web app folder. Now let me do clean, mvn clean. What is the meaning of mvn clean? mvn clean means it is going to delete the existing target folder. First of all, do we have the target folder here? We don't have a target folder here. Now I want to compile this. I want to compile this project. What is the command which we use to compile a project, guys? Can you tell me? Can you tell me? What is the command we need to use to compile this project? What is the command we need to use to compile this project? What is the command we need to use to compile this project? mvn space compile. Let's execute a command, mvn space compile. Now try this. Trying to compile. So what is happening here? No sources to compile. But guys, see here, by default in this project, the Java folder is not created. So there is no source available to compile. Web app is available and webinf is available. Web.xml file is available and JSP file is available. Developers will create the Java folder and the developers are going to write the Java code. Now, can we package this web application as a WAR file? Can we package this web application as a WAR file, guys? Can you tell me how to package this application as a WAR file? What is the goal I need to execute to package our applications? What is the goal I need to use to package our applications? We need to use a goal called mvn package. mvn package. Now check this. I'm executing package goal. See what is happening here. Which plugin is executing? WAR plugin is getting executed. WAR plugin is getting executed, which is going to create a WAR file. Now go to our project target folder. Can you see WAR file is created for our project? Can you see WAR file is created for our project? Now we need to deploy this WAR file into server. So for the standalone applications, jar file will be created. For web applications, WAR file will be created. So with this, are you able to understand what is Maven? Why we need to go for Maven? How to set up Maven? How to create Maven projects? How to add the dependency in the pom.xml? Maven repositories, Maven goals, Maven plugins. Are you guys comfortable with this? Are you guys comfortable with this? Right. Right. So with this, we understood what to do with the Maven. So what we have learned so far in the Maven tool, guys. So if you have this idea, then that means you can say that you know how to perform the build process for Java applications. So here we understood what is Java. Java is a programming language. What is source code? What is source code? What is bytecode? What is machine understandable code? What is bytecode and what is machine understandable code? How Java program will be executed? Java program execution process. Java program execution process. Okay. What is JDK? What is JRE? And what is JVM? What is JVM? Right. Next one. What is project dependency? We discussed about what is a project dependency also. Then after we understood what is Maven, what are the advantages of Maven? What are the advantages of Maven? Right. Java installation, Java installation, setting Java home and Java path, setting Java home and Java JDK path. Okay. Maven installation. We don't need to do any installation for the Maven. Basically, we are going to download Maven installation, Maven home, Maven installation, Maven installation. We have done setting Maven home, setting Maven home and Maven path, setting Maven home and Maven path. Next, we discussed about project creations using Maven, standalone project creation using Maven. Now we discussed about Maven terminology. Maven terminology. What is the terminology we discussed about Maven? What is archetype? What is group ID? What is artifact ID? What is version? What is packaging? Okay, standalone application creation, standalone project, Java standalone project creation, Java standalone project creation using Maven, project creation using Maven, Java web application creation using Maven. Okay, Maven repositories. So here we discussed about 3 repositories, guys. One is local repository, second one is central repository, and the third one is remote repository. Third one is remote repository. We discussed about Maven goals, Maven goals, Maven plugins, Maven goals, Maven plugins. Okay, Maven terminology and pom.xml. That is very, very important. Pom.xml. Adding dependency in Maven, adding dependency in pom.xml file also we have discussed. All right, did I explain all these topics, guys? What is Java? Java is a programming language which is used to develop the applications. Whenever we write the Java program, that file will have a .java extension. So that is called as source code. Java source code cannot understand by our computers. So we need to convert the Java source code into computers understandable format. For that, we are going to do Java compilation. So Java compiler is available to compile the Java program. That Java programs will be compiled into bytecode. Bytecode is nothing but a dot class file. Bytecode also cannot understand by the machine. The bytecode will be converted to machine understandable code by using JVM. JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. JDK stands for Java Development Kit, which is used to develop the Java programs. JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment, which is used to run the Java program. JDK, JRE, JVM. Right. What is the source code? What is bytecode? What is machine understandable code? What is the machine understandable code? And how the Java program is executing? What is JDK? What is JRE? what is JVM. Are you guys comfortable with these points? Java is a programming language. Java is given by Sun Microsystem. Currently, Java is under license of Oracle. Java is a free programming language. Java is open source programming language. Java is free programming language. Java is open source programming language. Java is open source programming language. Okay. Right. Now we are writing the Java programs to develop the projects. A project nothing but collection of Java programs. Java project nothing but collection of Java programs. Java programs will have .java as the extension. So Java programs cannot be executed in the computers. Java programs should be compiled. For that we need Java compiler. Java compiler is part of the JDK. Java compiler is part of the JDK. JDK stands for Java Development Kit, which will contain set of tools to compile the project and run the projects. JRE nothing but Java runtime environment, which will provide the platform to run our applications. Okay, right. What is project dependency? When we are running a Java project, when we are going to develop a Java project, when you are developing a Java project, only Java is not sufficient. Along with Java, you need some frameworks also. Example, Hibernate, Spring, etc. Example, Hibernate, Spring, Kafka, Redis, etc. These all are comes under dependencies. So in the Java project, we are going to add those dependencies also. Okay. JDK is used to develop the programs and compile the program. JRE is used to run the program, guys. So if you want to develop a Java program, then you need to have a JDK software in the computer. If you want to run the Java program, then you need to have the JRE in the system. JDK is used for project development. JRE is used for project execution. Who will execute the project? JVM will execute the project by using JRE. Project dependencies. So in the Java project, we are going to use several other frameworks also. Those are called as project dependencies, right? Now, what is Maven? Maven is a build tool which is given by Apache organization. Maven is a build tool which is given by Apache organization, which is used to automate the build process. What are the advantages of the Maven? Maven can create the project folder structure. Maven can create the project folder structure. Maven can compile the source code. Maven can execute the unit test cases. Maven can package the project. Whatever the things that we need to do manually can be automated by using Maven software. Okay, next one. In order to work with Maven, first we need to install the Java. So we have done the Java installation. Once you install the Java, you need to set the Java home and the JDK path. Then we need to download the Maven. We need to set the Maven home and we need to do the Maven path setup. Once all these things are completed, then we have started creating the projects by using Maven. So before going to create the project by using Maven, we need to understand the Maven terminology: archetype, group ID, artifact ID, version, packaging. Okay, archetype nothing but what type of project you want to create. Do you want to create a standalone Java project or you want to create a web application? Standalone project means it will execute in only one computer. Web application nothing but it will execute in it is a internet project. Web application nothing but standalone project means the project will run in only one computer. Web application means it will execute in multiple computers. Now, archetype nothing but type of the project you want to create. Group ID represents organization name. Artifact ID represents project name. What is the version of the project? What is the version of the project? Okay, version of the project means what is your current version? Project version 1, version 2, version 3, like that you can configure the version names. Snapshot means project is under development. Pom.xml. Pom.xml is the input file for the Maven where we are going to configure the dependencies. So we know how to add the dependency in the pom.xml also. You can search for the dependencies in the mvnrepository.com. So how to create the standalone project by using Maven and how to create the web application using Maven also we have discussed. And in the Maven we have repositories concept. Repository means it is the place where all the dependencies will be available. So whenever you set up Maven in the local system, then local repository will be created. That is called a .m2 folder. First, Maven will search for the dependency in the local repository. If it is not available in the local repository, then Maven will go for central repository by default. It will download the dependencies from the central repository and it will add in the local repository. If you are working for a software company, every company will use a remote repository like a JFrog repositories and all. Then your Maven should connect to the remote repository. If the dependency is not available in the local, then your Maven should connect to the remote repository. Okay, we have created the project. Then how to compile the Java project? In order to compile the Java project, we are going to use Maven goals. So there are several goals available in the Maven, like a clean goal is available, compile goal is available, clean compile goal is available, test goal is available, package goal is available, and install goal is available. So every goal is having a plugin. The plugin is the one which is going to perform the actual operation. When you do the clean plugin will execute and it is going to delete the target folder. Okay, when you execute compile goal, then compile goal will execute. It will compile the Java code into bytecode. When you execute the test goal, the project test code will be executed. When you execute the package goal, it is going to package the application into jar file or war file based on the packaging type. Install goal, our project will be installed as a dependency in the M2 folder. Right, Maven plugins are available. Plugins are nothing but a programs which will perform the action. Okay, these all are the questions that they are going to ask in the interview. Did I cover all these concepts about Maven, guys, in the class? For all these things, the notes also available above. So I have maintained the single document, guys. For the complete Maven, I have maintained single document. Whatever the points we have discussed in the class, everything here I have explained. Maven project folder structure also. I forgot to mention here. Maven project folder structure I have explained. Maven project folder structure also I have explained. So SRC main Java will be available. SRC test Java will be available. Main Java will contain the application source code. Test Java will contain application unit test code. Are you clear with this? As a DevOps engineer, knowing this much information about the Maven is extraordinary. Extraordinary. You learnt Maven at the developer level. You learned the Maven at the developer level. What is Java? How Java will compile? How Java will execute? What is JDK? What is JRE? What is dependency? How to set up the path? How to set up the Maven home, Java home? What is compilation? What is execution? How to create the project? What is the folder structure? What is the repository? How the repositories are executing? Which repository Maven will execute? Which repository Maven will use? What are the goals available? What is the purpose of each goal? What is the plugin? Knowing this much data about the Maven is extraordinary, guys. If somebody asks you about the Maven question, are you in the position to answer now? Are you in the position to answer the questions about Maven? Guys, come on. Are you in the position to answer the questions about Maven? Very good. Very good. Anybody having questions related to Maven now? So Maven is completed. I will move on to the next tool, guys. Before moving on to next tool, anybody having questions? Monali, what is your doubt? Monali, what is your doubt? I will take your questions. So if all the questions are clarified, then I will start the next tool, guys. The people who are having the questions related to Maven, please raise your hand in the Zoom. Then I will give the mic option to speak. Praveen Kumar, what is your doubt?
Sir, my doubt is where it is using that as setting.xml, sir, in Maven.
In the IDE, sir, it is a developer perspective. You don't need to bother about the settings.xml. So now, are you a developer?
Yes, sir.
So if you go for the IDE, let me show you that. If you go for IDE, there will be one option to load the settings.xml. I will show you that. Let me open my IDE. I'm opening my Spring Toolsuit IDE, where we will write our Java code, right? In this IDE, can you see my IDE?
Yes, sir.
Which IDE you are using in your project?
This Spring Boot, sir, this one.
No, IDE name I am asking.
IDE, IntelliJ, sir.
IntelliJ IDE you are asking, using, okay. Yeah. Go to window, preferences. When you go for the preferences, if you type Maven, you will get one option called user settings. Can you see option called user settings?
Yes, sir.
Here you need to give the path of the settings.xml. Okay. Then it will connect to the remote repository. Settings.xml file will contain the URL of the remote repository.
Okay,
For the
sir.
DevOps people, it is not required. Only for developers, it is required. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. Yep. Next one. Yeah, Muhammad, what is your doubt?
Yeah, so I've got a doubt about these dependencies, right? So you explained there's 3 different repository. There's a central one that's maintained by Maven, by Apache Foundation. Second one is the remote one that's maintained by the company, like the Maven teams from of the company, and then there's the local one. So the local one, where does it visit? Is it the end, like is it the DevOps like laptop, the person that is using it, the local, or is it
Wherever you execute Maven in your laptop, it will be created. If you execute Maven in your laptop, it will be created in your laptop. If it is executed in my laptop, it will be created in my laptop. In everybody's laptop who is using Maven, that will be created.
okay? And by default, whenever it will retrieve these jars, it will just look for central repository, but then we have to configure it so it goes to remote repository first.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and for the plugins, so the plugins is for like the configuration. Let's say you want to compile, you want to run a test or something like this. You have to configure that, or you have to download those like compiler or running or like to start project.
Java already you have installed in the JDK. You will have all those things, compilation and all things will be in the JDK.
So this you do it only once for the Java.
Yes, right.
Okay. One more question: if let's say tomorrow there will be like a newer version, and then we deliberately we want to use a different version. It's not like so. What do? We just change the version number, like the version type.
Yep. You just change the number. You need to change the name version number. That's it.
And then who's going to download it? Is that the dependency, like the?
So who will, whenever you change the version in the pom.xml, based on that version number, it is going to download.
Okay, so it will then go back to the
repository, and yes, it is going to download again. Exactly.
And what's going to happen with the current version? Will it be automatically deleted, or we will have
old
like
version? Old version also will be available in your local repository. First,
okay, yeah.
Now in the pom.xml, I have configured JUnit 3.8.1. It is already downloaded that. Now I have changed it from 3.8.1 to 4.8.1. Now it will download the 4.8.1 version. The older version will be available in your local repository. You need to delete manually if you don't want it.
Okay, so when you change it automatically, when he does not find, like he does not recognize this version, then it will look for it, like whether
Yes,
it's
right.
remote or okay, fine.
Yes,
yeah,
right.
No problem. Thank you.
Good, sir. Ankit, you are asking how to set the Java home. I have already explained that in the class, how to set the Java home very clearly. 2 times I explained that. I think you missed that session. Please refer the notes. Here I explained how to set the Java home.
No, sorry to interrupt you. I think he had the same issue as me. I had an issue with this Java. I followed the same step as you, but the only issue is on my laptop. I had another path for Java, so this is why I had to delete it and keep only one path.
Yep, right. Okay, fine, guys. So with this, can we say that our Maven got completed? Maven final notes that I'm going to update for you. It is 8:30 batch. Yeah. Maven final notes.
Please, one more question, sir. So how many projects we will do like using this DevOps?
Yeah, we will see that, sir. 3 to 4 projects we will do.
Okay, thanks.
Guys, all of you able to download the Maven class notes? All of you able to download the Maven final class notes? Yeah. So someone is asking what is the version and what is the scope. Sir, version means every iPhone 4 is there, iPhone 5 is there, iPhone 6 is there, iPhone 7 is there, iPhone 10, 11, 12, 13, like that. So similarly for every project, one version number will be available. So JUnit to 3 version available, JUnit to 4 version is available. So which version of the JUnit you want to download, that you can configure the version number. Which version of the JUnit you want to download, which version of the Spring Boot you want to download, which version of the Hibernate you want to download, that version number you have to specify. Scope of the dependency will represent when this dependency should be used by the project. So JUnit is related for unit testing. So this dependency should be used only in the test phase. Whenever unit testing is happening, then only this dependency should be used. Some dependencies should be used only at the compilation time. Some dependencies should be used only at the runtime. Some dependencies should be used only at the testing time. So the scope represents when the dependency should be used. Scope represents when the dependency should be used. Okay. The default scope is compile. Compile or runtime. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Maven scopes. Maven dependency scope provided. Yeah, compile is the default scope. So in the Maven, there are some scopes available. So the scopes are going to define when we need to use that dependency. If you use it by default, it is a compile scope. So the dependency will be used when your project is getting compiled. If it is a test scope, that will be used only at the test phase. If it is a runtime, it will be used only in the runtime scope, like that. All right. Perfect. If you don't specify any scope, then by default it will take compile. By default it will take compile. All right. So see users, username, you can see .m2. So this is the repository where all the dependencies are downloaded and available. This is your local repository. Good, fine. Next one. So with this Maven completed, guys, for us, whatever is required for the DevOps teams, whatever is required for the DevOps teams related to Maven, we have covered. The next thing that we are going to start is build tools. Build tool completed. Next one we are going to talk about repository tools. Source code repository tools. Source code repository tools. Source code repository tools. Now, guys, see here. In a project, one developer will be available or multiple developers will be available. In a project, one developer will be available or multiple developers will be available. Multiple developers will be working inside a project. Now, multiple developers will be works for a project development. Development team nothing but set of group of developers will be available in order to develop the project. All the developers will work in the same location or they will work from different locations. All developers will work from the same location or all the developers will work from different locations. Developers will work from different locations. Developers will work from different locations. Now, but all are working in the same project development. Developers are working from different locations, but they are working on the same project. Now, so if you take a project here, somebody, now you see a project called Make My Trip application. Make My Trip application is available. Make My Trip application having different functionalities. Make my trip application having different functionalities. Flights booking available, hotels booking available, homestays, trains, buses, cabs, forex, charter flights, activities like this. Charter flights like this. Different functionalities are available. Okay, one developer is working on the flights functionality, one developer working on the trains functionality, another developer working on the cabs functionality. So but the code should be integrated at one place. That's where code repository comes into picture. Okay, source code repository software comes into picture, which is called source code repository. Source code repository is required. Okay, now this first developer will communicate with the source code repository, second developer also will communicate with the source code repository, third developer, fourth developer. Every developer will connect with the source code repository for the code integration purpose. Every developer will connect with the source code repository for the code integration purpose. Okay, once the developers has done the coding, whatever the code they have developed, they will store that code into repository server. Whatever the code they develop, that code will be stored into repository server. Source code will be stored into repository server. Now, how to work with these repository servers? There are several repository servers are available. Okay, multiple developers will be working for a project. Multiple developers will work for project development. Developers will be working from multiple locations. Developers will be working from multiple locations. All the developers code should be stored at one place. All developers code should be stored at one place. All the developers code should be stored at one place. Code integration should happen. Code integration should happen. Okay, in order to integrate all the source code of the project at one place, we will go for source code repository softwares. To integrate all the developers source code at one place, we will use source code repository softwares. We will use source code repository softwares. Source code repository softwares we are going to use for integration purpose. Guys, now tell me, what is the purpose of source code repository software? In a project, multiple team members will be available to do the coding. The developers will be working from several locations. Somebody working in Hyderabad, somebody working in Bangalore, somebody working in USA, somebody working from some other country. But all are working on the same project. When the developers are working on the working from multiple locations for the same project, at the end of the day, we need to integrate project to source code at one place. Okay, in Hyderabad one developer is there, in Bangalore one developer is there, in Chennai one developer is there. All the developers source code should be integrated at one place. For that we need source code repository. Now in this source code repository, two things will happen, guys. One is code integration will happen. The first thing is code integration. Source code repository, which is used to store the source code repository. Okay, what can we do in the source code repository? Code integration can be done by using source code repository. Code integration and monitored access. Monitored access, nothing but who, when, who modified the code, who, when, why, what, what. All these things we can monitor for the project to source code, because source code is very important. Developers are going to keep their blood to write that source code. right? So writing the source code is very difficult. The development job is very difficult, guys. They are going to keep lot of efforts to write that code. Now assume that I'm a developer. Yesterday I have implemented the code. Yesterday my code was working successfully. Today my code is not working because somebody modified that code. Do I need to find out who modified my code or not? Do I need to find out who modified my code or not? Guys, come on. Yesterday my code was working successfully. Today morning my code is not working. The reason somebody modified my code. So do I need to figure out who modified my code? Yes, that means I need to have monitored access for my code. I need to have monitored access for my code. Monitored access means who modified, why modified, when modified, what modified. I need to track it. When you go for source code repository server, those source code repository servers will provide you monitored access. You can integrate the source code at one place. All the developers can be integrate the source code at one place. Then that source code repository server will be available. Developer 1 working in the Mumbai, developer 2 working in Chennai, developer 3 working in Pune, Bangalore, Delhi. In the different locations our team members are available. But end of the day, whatever the code they develop, they need to keep at one place. That is called source code repository. Two advantages here. First one is code integration is happening at one place. Tomorrow you want to deploy the code into server. Do you need to go to the developers and take the code in the pen drive, or you can take the code from the repository? Do you need to beg the developers to get the source code, or you can take the source code from the repository? For example, assume that my project don't have a repository like this. My project don't have a repository like this. There are 4 developers available. 4 developers are available in the 4 locations. 4 developers are available. 4 developers are available in the 4 locations. One person is in Hyderabad, another person in Bangalore, one person in Chennai, one person Delhi. Now I am a DevOps engineer. I want to deploy the code into server tomorrow morning. So today night, take a flight, go to Chennai, ask the developer to give the code in the pen drive. Then go to Delhi, ask the developer to give the code in the pen drive. Collect all the developers code into pen drives, then come to Hyderabad, go to office, integrate the code and deploy into server. Can you do that? Can you go to developer home and can you ask the developer to give the code in the pen drive? Can you integrate the code like that? Is it possible? Is it possible? Now, code integration is a developer responsibility or code integration is a DevOps person responsibility? Who should integrate the code? Who is responsible to integrate the code? Developers are responsible or DevOps people are responsible? Developers are responsible or DevOps people are responsible? Code integration is the developer's responsibility. Code integration is the developer's responsibility. They will use one repository server to integrate the source code. As a DevOps engineer, you need to ask the developers to share the code or you need to take the code from the repository. As a DevOps engineer, you need to take the code from the repository. Who will keep the code in the repository? Developers will keep the code in the repository. You need to take the code from the repository and you need to deploy that code into server. When we use the repositories, there are 2 advantages available. All the developers code will be integrated at one place and the repository will have a monitored access. If some developer add the new code or if modify the code or if delete the code, everything will be tracked by the repository. Who, when, why, what, everything will be tracked by the repositories. Okay. Repository servers are providing 2 advantages. Okay. So advantages with source code repository tools. Advantages with source code repository softwares. Advantages with the source code repository softwares. Okay. Code, all the developers code can be integrated at one place. all the developers can connect to repository server and can integrate the code. All the developers can connect to repository server and can integrate the code. Repository server will provide monitored access. Repository server will provide monitored access. Repository server will provide monitored access. What is the meaning of monitored access? What is the meaning of monitored access? Who, when, why, what? Who, when, why, what? Who, when, why, what? That monitored access also will be available. Okay. All the developers can connect to the repository server, can integrate the code. Integrating the code means what? Here, a project is nothing but a collection of programs. Developer 1 is writing some programs for the flights. Developer 2 writing some programs for the hotels. The programs related to the flights, programs related to the hotels should kept in one place. That is called integration. Integration means collecting the files which are created by the developers, keeping in one place is called as integration. That's it. Okay. Now, let's talk about this now. Multiple developers are working in a project. Multiple developers will work for project development. Developers will be working in the same location, or developers will be working from the multiple locations. Developers will be working from multiple locations. If the developers are working from the multiple locations, then how we need to integrate the code? How can we keep all the Java files at one place which are developed by multiple developers? We need one common location to keep that. We need one common location to keep that. We need one common location to keep that. Okay. We need one common location to keep that. That's where repository servers comes into picture. That's where repository servers comes into picture. Right. Now we are going for the repository server to store the source code. The developer is writing some Java programs. Developer Java programs will be kept in the repository. Developer 2 writing some Java programs kept in the repository. Developer 3, developer 4 also will keep the code in the repository. That is called integration. Code integration can happen at one place. Along with that, it is going to check that who is modifying, when modified, why modified, what modified. Everything will be tracked by repository. Now guys, can you imagine a project development without repository server now? Can you imagine a project development without repository server? Is it possible? Impossible, right? Very difficult. Possible वो कर सकते हैं, but बहुत ज़्यादा time लेता है भाई. Developers are working in multiple locations. How you will keep all the developers code in one place? How you will understand which developer modifying which code? Tracking the code changes is very difficult. Code integration will become very difficult if you don't have a repository servers. Okay, so for every project, build tool will be used for 100%. Repository tools also will be used for 100%. Repository software is available in the market. Several repository servers, repository tools. There are several repository tools available in the market: SVN, GitHub, Bitbucket, etc. SVN, GitHub, Bitbucket, etc. Like that, there are several repository softwares are available in the market. Guys, SVN software got outdated. SVN software got outdated. Nowadays, GitHub and Bitbucket softwares are trending in the market. I'm not going to teach you SVN, guys. I worked with SVN in the 2013. From 2013 to 2016, I worked with SVN. Almost 4 years I worked on SVN software. At that time, SVN was famous software to perform repository operations like code storage, code integration can be done by using SVN. But from 2016 onwards, I am working with Bitbucket and GitHub. Currently in the market, these two tools are trending. Sir, in my project SVN is available. How to work with SVN? So some people will ask, sir, could you please teach the SVN? That's why I have uploaded the SVN videos in our YouTube, guys. If anybody want to learn the SVN, then you can go through the SVN videos available in our YouTube channel. I think in the 2020, I have explained SVN. Now, let me show you the videos of the here. There are 4 videos available for the SVN tutorial for beginners here, guys. 4 videos I have prepared for the SVN. This is when our Ashokite Institute started in the 2020 May 13 only. I have conducted the class for the SVN. I have uploaded those videos in the YouTube. SVN 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 3.5 hours video available for the SVN. If anybody want to learn the SVN, then you can go to this video tutorial, you can learn. But basically nowadays it is not required because it is already outdated in the market. It's already outdated in the market. We are going to work with the GitHub and Bitbucket. We are going to work with the GitHub and Bitbucket. Repository tools, SVN, GitHub, Bitbucket tools are available in the market. SVN got outdated. GitHub, Bitbucket are the trending tools in the market. Sir, this GitHub, Bitbucket or SVN not related to Java or .NET or Python. It is common for every project. Maven is related to only Java. But what about this GitHub and SVN, Bitbucket? SVN, GitHub, Bitbucket tools are related to Java, or these are common for everyone? These are related to Java, or these are common for every project? If the project is a .NET or the project is Python or a project is something else, any technology, they can go with GitHub, they can go with Bitbucket. It is not technology specific, guys. These are universal softwares. For every project you can, for any project you can use GitHub. Right, understood? What is source code repository? What is source code repository? Why we need to use the source code repositories in the project? Source code repositories are using only for 2 reasons mainly. One is code integration at one place. All the developers code should be integrated at one place so that as a DevOps engineer, you can take the source code from one location and you can package that project and you can deploy that project. Second reason for that is monitored access. It is going to monitor who is making changes, who, why, when, what, everything will be tracked here. Who, when, why, what, everything will be tracked here, right? So now, do we have one repository software in the market? We have multiple repository softwares in the market. Do we have only one repository software in the market? We have multiple repository softwares in the market. We have multiple repository softwares in the market. What are those? SVN, GitHub, Bitbucket, like that. SVN is already outdated in the market. If anybody want to learn the SVN, I have given the video link for the SVN in our YouTube channel. If you are interested, you can go through them. But currently not required. If your project is using SVN, then only go for that videos, guys. Otherwise not required because it is already outdated. I stopped teaching SVN from last 2 years. Right. Next one, GitHub. GitHub is a trending. Bitbucket is also trending in the market. Some projects are using GitHub, some projects are using Bitbucket. Okay, fine. So first we are going to work with GitHub, working with GitHub. What is a GitHub? GitHub is a version control software. We can say as source code repository tools. Guys, these are also called as version control softwares. Some people will call as version control softwares. Source code repository tools or version control softwares, nothing but both are same. Some people will call as which version control software is using in your project, which version control software is using in your project, or which source code repository software is using in your project. They may ask a question, either GitHub or Bitbucket. Version control software, source code repository software, both are same. Okay, now working with GitHub. Now, so in order to work with the GitHub, what is the first step we need to do is create account in github.com. Create account in github.com. That is the first step you need to do. Environment setup to work with GitHub. Environment setup to work with GitHub. Two things you need to do, guys, here. First thing is create account in github.com. Second one, download and install Git client software. Now I want to use GitHub as a repository and I want to perform the operations with the GitHub. If you want to perform the operations with the GitHub, then we need to go for these two steps here, guys. The first step is create account in github.com. Now, so can you guys do the account creation now itself, all of you? www.github.com, git repository, sorry, github.com, where the cloud applications we can store. Create the account in github.com. This is the URL. Can you guys create the account? It is free of cost, guys. No need to pay the money initially. Okay, you can use the Git for free of cost. Up to 5 GB or some 10 GB data is available. Git is offering both free plans and commercial plans. We will use the Git with the free plans. Guys, are you able to create? Once you are done that, someone is saying good night. Class is not completed, man. You are feeling sleepy, huh? Good night. He's saying good night. So that means you want me to stop the class. Okay. All of you able to create the account in the GitHub? All of you able to create the account in the GitHub, guys? You need to create the account in the GitHub. I have account in the GitHub already, so I'm going to use my existing account. I want you people to create the account in the GitHub. I want you people to create the account in the GitHub. Okay. I want you people to create account in the GitHub. Are you done with account creation? Yes. Once you have done that account creation, then download Git client. Yes, this is the URL, guys. So from here, you need to download the Git client software and install it. From here, create Git account. Create a GitHub account. URL. From here, you need to create the GitHub account. Once the GitHub account is created, then download and install Git client software. Git client software you can download from this URL. Here, download button is available. For Windows, for Linux, different flavors available. So based on your operating system, you download that and install it. Download and install the Git client software. So once you are able to install this Git client, then that's it for today. So tomorrow we are going to understand how to work with this GitHub by using Git client. You need to create the account in the GitHub. Once you create the account in the GitHub, then you need to download and install. You need to download and install Git client software. I have given the link to download that Git client. Download and install that. Once you have installed, now if you right click like this, here you should be able to see Git GUI, Git bash. If you are able to see these things, that means that Git client is installed successfully in your machine. GitHub account we are creating in the cloud platform. If you are able to create it, that's good. Once it is done, download and install the Git client. From this URL, you can download and install. Once you are done with your installation, once you are done with your installation, go to your desktop, right click on the mouse, then you should be able to see Git bash options. Okay. Once installation completed, right click on the mouse, and verify Git options display. Once installation completed, right click on the mouse and verify Git options display. If Git options displaying, our Git client installation complete these 2 steps, guys. Environment setup to work with the GitHub. Create account in the GitHub, download the client and install. Once you install, you verify the client is installed successfully or not. Once if it is done, then you are good to work with GitHub. So from tomorrow, we are going to understand how to work with this GitHub. Thank you, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Good night.